Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we are in person with the one and only Count Zander, and also known as Alexander Nunley. He is a film composer. He recently had an album out. How many months ago was it now?
Next month it'll have been out for a whole year.
Okay, yeah. So he released this. This album. Diogenes was here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were planning to do a podcast, but we couldn't. But now we are able to do one, and sadly the album has already been out for quite a while. Nonetheless, we're here, and thank you, Alexander, for being very patient with us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why don't we talk about how we met? Well, I guess the story is I had a piece of music written for saxophone, and then I came to you, or that the saxophonist bailed out, and then I came to you and I rewrote it for clarinet, and that became Escargot. You can go watch that on YouTube. And why don't you take it from there?
Yeah, I remember that moment. I was in a practice room at El Camino, and I was just playing my clarinet, and I heard a knock on the door, and you were there, and I opened the door. I was like, hello, and he was like, oh, hi, I've got this piece I've been writing. I was wondering if you'd like to try and play it. And I was like, oh, sure, always happy to meet a fellow composer. And so we tried it out, and it was what became the first movement of Escargot. Was in its early stages, and it went through some revisions, movements got added, and that was a fun journey, being there from the beginning of that and seeing it progress.
And it is a high watermark, that piece, for me, at least, and of course you played in a bunch of my other works, ensemble pieces and so on, but beyond that, you are a film composer, and you right now you're going to. Is it okay if we say the school? Or?
Oh, of course. I'm studying at Cal State Northridge, and I'm getting my degree in commercial media composition, which is film scoring.
Yeah, and you have this album, Diogenes was here, was here, right?
Was here, yeah.
Yeah. So with that album, I know it's kind of it compiles a lot of the work that you've done up until, I guess, a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one of the questions I had for it was, it's mainly, I guess safe to say, mainly virtual instruments.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. What I guess what made you make that decision, and also what's your position, if you could say, on using virtual instruments?
Well, using virtual instruments is kind of a necessity for a lot of composers today. Unfortunately, the reason is budget. If I could record everything with a live orchestra in a professional studio, I would. I would love to do that. I love working with orchestras and conducting them. But it's expensive, and so it's really important to, as a film composer, get really good at working with virtual instruments, because very few projects, especially starting out, are going to have the budget for an actual orchestra. So,
right,
yeah,
and it's pretty safe to say you're interested in writing for orchestra, orchestra music, and not necessarily chamber music, or is that off the table with you, or?
Oh no, chamber music. I've done that a little bit. But then again, I have actually taken chamber pieces I've written and then redone them for orchestra. So I do kind of prefer that. So like Prelude for All Tomorrows was actually originally imagined as a saxophone quartet, but then I redid it for orchestra. And Frolic and Dance, I wrote that for a composition competition, and they had only a few instruments you could work with. And that was limiting, but it did create a lot of ideas for different color changes I could use, which instruments ended up getting featured in that one. And then Ecclesiastes was originally meant to be a string quartet, but then I made it for a string orchestra instead. So I don't know. I just like the big sound of an orchestra. It's fun to write for.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what makes you attracted to the sound of the orchestra?
It's a very it's a very something that I've heard a friend of mine say once was that something I seem to do pretty well is use the orchestra as an instrument, and it's a very big, powerful, versatile instrument at that. Like, you can have like very soft, lyrical, beautiful passages played on, and you can also get huge, powerful sound. I was actually at a string quartet concert just last night, actually, and funny enough, it was 100 years of Hollywood history was the theme of the concert, and so they were doing popular movie themes. They did 4 different John Williams arrangements, among other things. And while
Psycho and stuff, yeah.
Huh?
Psycho and...
no, they didn't have Psycho in there, unfortunately. It would have been cool if they... But, yeah, I was listening to it, and I was kind of thinking about how some film scores kind of lend themselves better to string quartets than others. Like, they had some classics like Singing in the Rain and Moon River and stuff like that, and those lended themselves really nicely to string quartet. But when you play Superman and what else they have, Raiders of the Lost Ark, it just kind of felt a little thin, you know, and so an orchestra is really good for those kinds of scores.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I'm definitely those scores. Yeah, like, I mean, I was thinking about the other day. Yeah, John Williams really was. I mean, especially Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think he really made some incredible textures and colors with the orchestra that you don't really see that much in scores. I mean, I think you see it like in... There's only like a few I can really say. Like Citizen Kane, I know, has similar qualities, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that to me that's a great score. Yeah, I guess with using virtual instruments, I mean, you say it's a sort of a necessity. I guess, does it have to be? I mean, would you like? If would you prefer real instruments if you could?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so because I know a lot of things you write are very big. So I guess I'll just say, like, yeah, why don't you write for something small, like a small chamber ensemble or yeah, like a smaller group, which is more likely to be played. I mean, I guess that's more my approach. Yeah, but I don't know if you can speak on that.
Chamber pieces are fun to do. Actually, rearranged Ecclesiastes recently for a smaller chamber ensemble. Played a one-time event with that, and so I had a full string quartet and added flute and clarinet, and that was a lot of fun to do. But I suppose for me it's just a matter of what I like to listen to. In general, I just prefer listening to classical music written for a larger ensemble. So that's what I write.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But in terms of the practical aspect, getting some friends together and just playing music, it is a lot of fun. I suppose I should do that a little bit more.
We sort of jumped the gun on it, but yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on what do you think are the best, or what do you think are, the best essential film scores, and your favorites.
Some of my favorites.
But also just what do you think is like the best?
The best.
Too.
My favorite for a long time has been Danny Elfman's score for Batman in 1989, the Tim Burton one. That one's fantastic. Lord of the Rings is also essential. I like...
Which one?
Huh?
Which Lord, like, are you talking about the...
I mean, holistically, the way the...
Like the Howard Shore?
Yeah, Howard Shore, of course. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The way he's able to build and develop motifs over the course of 9 hours, or longer if you're watching the extended editions, is remarkable. The way all the themes are memorable and very well orchestrated. It's fantastic. Some other ones I really like. Joe Hisaishi, he did all the Studio Ghibli films. There's there's this one score I like from him. I feel like it's not as well known as some of the other ones, like you're always hearing about Castle in the Sky and House Moving Castle, but there's this other one from the same studio, Tales from Earthsea. I really enjoy the score for that one, and there's a mix of all kinds of not just orchestral elements, but you also see some world music elements in there. It's really, really nice. I mean, the film itself is nothing like the books at all, but for what it is, I enjoy it.
Yeah, who's the like the director of like Spirited Away? Who's that?
Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah, Miyazaki. Because I think that was Miyazaki's son, right? That did Tales from Earthsea. Yeah, I never saw it, but
it's a good one. If you're a fan of the books, you might not enjoy it. They kind of butcher a lot of things really badly. It's hardly even the same thing, but it's good. I like it.
Nice. Yeah, well, what would you say are like the high water marks of film music in I guess if you were to think about like the history of it from the beginning to now?
So like some of the most historically important scores, you mean?
Yeah, like what do you think are those are?
Let's see. Star Wars would be among them for sure. At really anything John Williams. The Godfather. Psycho, as you mentioned. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I did an arrangement of The Ecstasy of Gold a little while back at Northridge. That was a lot of fun to kind of learn from that one. Some other essentials.
Well, yeah. Well, why do you think the Godfather, for example, is an important one?
Well, just that movie in the history of filmmaking in general is
right. Yeah.
The way that was put together, but I suppose the score itself kind of set the tone, I think, for any like kind of mafia or crime
Mm.
movie that came after it. Kind of set that kind of sound.
I could see that, yeah. Mm. Um. Yeah, I'm forgetting his name, but yeah, I really enjoy that composer's work. Um. But because he did the stuff with Fellini. Yeah, La Strada, for instance. I guess as a film composer, do you have to switch from being like an electronic musician, like write an electronic score, like for like synthesizers and stuff, and to like to I guess a classical composer, I guess, or and I know there's also like the combo where you have both electronic and so is that something like you kind of have to inhibit like all those things to in the film industry, or can you be selective?
It's going to depend on the project, really. Ultimately, whatever the director wants is what you have to write.
I mean, I guess what I mean is like, do you have to be a film composer? Do you have to have knowledge of like the synthesizer? Do you have to have knowledge of how electronics work and acoustics and thing? Would you say so, or?
Yeah. Actually, a friend of mine at school once said that film scoring degree, you go into it thinking you're going to be John Williams or Jerry Goldsmith, but then they trick you into being a beat maker. But yeah, I did actually have to do some heavy electronic work for a film recently. I was doing a student film called Karma, and originally going into it, the director wasn't quite sure what he wanted, so I started doing my thing, mainly orchestral stuff, and then we moved on to a hybrid score, and then it was like, a lot of this feels too emotional, can we dial things back a bit? And so I did that, and there were a lot of rewrites, and then towards the end of the semester, he was like, actually, have you ever seen Blade Runner? Can we do like a fully electronic score like that? And so some of it was just a matter of switching out violin VSTs with synthesizers, and some of it I had to completely rewrite again. But that's the gig. It's the director's movie, and you gotta be able to deliver what they're asking for.
Right, but also as a composer, that means you have to have like a lot of knowledge of which seems challenging, but
yeah, and also in terms of adopting multiple styles and being able to write all kinds of different things for certain projects, I've been told, say yes, figure it out later.
Yeah, I sort of have to be a chameleon. Yeah. I guess on that subject, well, this is I guess in intertwined with the subject. What do you think? What do you think about the manipulation of acoustical phenomena in film music? So like taking like I mean, I know prior we talked about Dune, the soundtrack, and how very famous guitarist Guthrie Govan played a melody on guitar, on electric guitar, which then Hans Zimmer's team processed it into sounding like a bagpipe.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that? What's yeah. I mean, I guess not necessarily in that example, but what do you think of doing something like that, where you're taking an acoustic instrument and then I guess making something different or new out of it.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense to do, and it's becoming increasingly common. In the case of that particular instance, I think it makes sense because they're trying to go for something very otherworldly, you know. So like they'd have bagpipes on Arrakis, but would a bagpipe on Arrakis sound like one from Scotland, or would it sound like completely unlike any bagpipe you've ever heard? So I suppose that makes sense when you're trying to create something very different and immersive. But and just in other cases, finding new sounds electronically is very common now. And as Hans Zimmer himself said, film music is cool because there are no rules. You can you don't have to use sounds that already exist. So you can be inventive. You can find something new that's never been done before. So
right.
I think that's pretty cool.
And also using using recording techniques that like just only makes like an exuberant amount of possibilities that you can have. But because I mean, I suppose because I was looking into this the subject, as you know, and well, I guess what do you think of like electroacoustic music? I guess it could be called electroacoustic, but like Kontakte by Stockhausen. Well, really, I guess Stockhausen as really a lot of his music is dealing with electronics with acoustic instruments. Yeah, do you think there's a connection between that?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Of course, it's not just Stockhausen, but yeah.
Of course. Yeah. The thing with combining acoustic and electronic elements in a live performance, that can sound really cool, but it needs to, of course, be done well. You shouldn't be able to... Like you want to feel like the electronics and the acoustic instruments are coming from the same space. And sometimes with stuff coming through on speakers versus direct from the instrument to the ear, sometimes that's difficult. But yeah, in film music, having everything kind of combined during the mixing process, you have a bit more control over that. So, but I do see the connection from going from Stockhausen to Hans Zimmer, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah, what's your or is do you think there's a line not to be crossed when dealing with this in film music?
With
with like specifically, I guess, manipulating like acoustic instruments into some other thing. Yeah.
As long as you're not using unauthorized copyrighted material, I guess not.
Okay.
If it sounds cool, go for it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess it bears the question, how important do you think acoustic instruments are in film music?
Traditionally very important. The sort of romantic orchestra was sort of the foundation of how we think about film soundtracks for decades. So, yeah, very important. There's that tradition there, and that's what I want to follow in the footsteps of. But that's in today's world, that's becoming slightly less common, more and more over time, and
more difficult. Yeah.
and more difficult. Yeah, but used to that's all you could do. That was the way to do it. But
yeah, it's funny because I was the other day I was watching Spielberg's, I think, his second movie, Sugarland Express.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that one?
That one, no.
Okay, yeah. Well, the movie starts out with, as I was thinking, because it's his second movie, that it was like, it would be, I don't know, a small number of instruments or something in the music,
Mm-hmm.
and I know John Williams did the soundtrack to that one, and it opens up with a harmonica solo.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, this is nice, and all of a sudden, like, this big orchestra sound comes out, and you're just like, whoa, and yeah, that was, that had quite a wonderful effect, I think, because you weren't expecting an orchestra to be there. So do you think there needs to be a change? Like, that being said, do you think there needs to be a change in the film world with that kind of with that approach to music, to the film music?
Like changes in
Like,
continuing to move towards electronic or trying to move back to acoustic?
well, in making acoustic more common rather than the latter.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think acoustic is still quite common. Like, you still see big Hollywood blockbusters. They'll still make a little documentary about the score, and you'll see the musicians in the studio, and it's still alive and well. It's just some of it's getting displaced by electronic stuff, and that does appear to be the direction that it wants to be heading the industry, it seems like. But for now, at least, I think there is still at least a place for acoustic scores, and I hope that doesn't go away.
Heading in the electronic area, or
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That seems to be where things are going.
Right. I mean, because you say, yeah, there's these. I mean, I don't want to sound like, all negative about electronic. I think electronic music's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. Wonderful thing to use in film music, depending on what the project is. But yeah, I mean, I guess just from like my experience, talking to some other film composers, like, yeah, they I don't know, they do these documentaries, like, where you see everything, but they don't really show everything. I suspect.
Yeah, right. Well,
They can't, yeah. And like, I interviewed Graham Revel, and who did the anyone doesn't know, he did the soundtrack to The Crow movie, The Saint, and I know he also did Chucky 2, although I don't think he likes that one that much. But in some of those movies, he talked about, like, they recorded the real thing, the real instruments, and then, like, I don't know, there's something about the sound they didn't like, and so he had to go back and electronically fix it. So basically like splice in a electronic cello versus a real one.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you see those things happening where it's like, I mean, I guess that did happen to you in the short film, where you had to change it.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah. Well, in that case, it was. It started out with electronic cellos at the beginning, but they had to get switched out for not just synthesizers meant to sound like cellos, but like just synthesizers. But yeah, I do see people using sample libraries to touch up live recordings a little bit. yeah, I've seen some friends at school do that even. For studio ensemble, we have big recording session at the end of every semester, and in some of the mixing sessions I've seen some people bring in stuff and they'll be like, I wasn't really feeling the woodwind performances, which kind of hurts me as a clarinetist a little bit to hear that, but and then they'll have some MIDI tracks that they bring in and to kind of blend it in with the real performances. So I know that's done sometimes. And if you're a professional player, I think you want to avoid that kind of situation as much as possible, because if they have to replace you in post, then you're probably not getting hired again.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I guess moving on from that, can you tell us your, I guess, technical process when you first get a film, when you're starting to score it?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so first thing you do is you meet with the director and you watch the film together, sometimes once or twice, and it's always nice to have to just watch it yourself the first time around, no commentary, just take it in, start to develop ideas. And then the second time around, the director will kind of talk about what they want. Sometimes they don't have that kind of time, though, and they'll just go straight into commentary. But yeah, and they'll tell you kind of the emotional content of what they want. Sometimes they have an idea of what kind of sound palette, and you try not to talk to directors in musical terminology, because they maybe don't know what all that means. And one time I was working with a director who thought he did. But, he was like talking about he said he had some ideas for like time signatures that he wanted specifically, and so I was like, oh, okay, so he's got an idea of like what he wants it to sound like, because when I think time signature, I think he means like meter, but what he meant was time stamps. Like, the music should come in at, like, 5 minutes and 46 seconds. Like, that's what I meant. And so I at one point I had to go back and be like, oh, hold on, do we mean the same thing here? So that's the first thing to do is you're working for the director, so you need to know what the director wants. And then after that, it's all you for a little bit. So you take the scene and think about the spotting that you talked about, where things should enter, what scenes need music, what scenes don't, and then you can sit down and start working on them. And first thing you should always do when you're starting to score the picture is figure out your tempo map. So you want to know, once the music starts, there's a number of ways you can figure out the tempo. One, you can just feel it out. Something I like to do is I'll just have the scene and I'll just kind of just tap along, see what feels right. And fortunately, usually that works, because then like you feel like something should be an 8-bar phrase, and then something lands in a spot where the phrase, and in the film it lands where that phrase would end, and it's like, oh, cool, that worked out. Okay, so that's our tempo. And you want to think about especially what moments are really important to highlight, like on the beat, because you don't want to highlight like everything that they're doing and like kind of do some tone painting to mimic it, because in the industry we call that Mickey Mouse-ing, and that's for cartoons. That's not for serious movies, So
I mean, Danny Elfman does it all the time.
Yeah, he does, but tastefully.
Yeah, tastefully.
It needs to fit. Like you don't want to. Like if they were doing that in The Godfather, that wouldn't work. Right. But yeah, that lends itself well to action scenes and stuff like that. But for the most part, you want the music to just kind of flow very naturally and like highlight certain points. And so then you come up with where the tempos should be, where the meters are, all the while you're trying to come up with themes that'll fit into those little boxes you've created for yourself. And sometimes you need to adjust those, like you don't in film soundtracks in particular, you don't typically have like a steady tempo throughout. Like you might even have like fractions of a beat per minute that you change like from one shot to the next just to really get things to line up perfectly. And all that works in the studio because all the musicians have headphones on with click tracks, so the conductor in that case is slightly redundant, but you stick to the click track and everything will line up pretty well. And which actually, before they had all that, was really impressive. I was at the Academy Museum, the Oscars Museum, and they,
right in downtown LA.
Yeah. Yeah, I was there about maybe like a month or two ago, and they had this Jaws exhibit, and they had a little corner dedicated to John Williams. They had his actual baton that he used in the session, and what was really impressive was right next to the baton, they had a stopwatch, because they weren't using very precise click tracks to get everything to line up properly. John Williams had to have the timestamps written in the score. He had a stopwatch, and he was conducting, and that's how he had to feel it out like that with the stopwatch to make sure everything was landing where it needed to for the film.
Oh wow!
Which is because that's how they used to do it, which is insane. But
yeah, it seems like it would need right.
Yeah. But these days we have the luxury of just click tracks with very precise metronomes, and it's nice. And then once you've got your tempo figured out, then you can move on to getting down the score itself. When you're coming up with leitmotifs, character themes, a lot of the time it's good to start away from the picture, so you're thinking purely musically. So like, what does it feel like? Who is this character if they were a song? And then sometimes you put that into the film and it works perfectly. Sometimes you gotta tweak it a little bit. Sometimes you hear the notes with the picture and you're like, nope, that's not quite what I pictured in my head. Let's try something else.
Yeah.
And then other times you come up with those things kind of by accident, like you have the film in front of you and you're just kind of messing around with ideas, and then you come up with something and it looks really nice with the picture, and it's like, oh, there it is, there's my theme. Okay, got that squared away. And then you sketch out your ideas. You send that sketch to the director, and you try to get it to sound as polished as possible, because the director isn't going to be thinking about like, this is what it sounds like right now, but imagine what it'll sound like when I polish it up, like fully orchestrate it. Sometimes you gotta assume that the director doesn't have that kind of musical imagination, so you gotta send them something that sounds almost exactly what the final product would be. And sometimes they like it, they're like, cool, no notes, keep it up. Other times they're like, could you change this? Could you take that out? I'm not feeling the glockenspiel there. And then sometimes they'll have you rewrite it entirely, and and then you just keep doing that, and once everyone's happy, you've got your film score.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you get to record it live if it's in the budget.
Right, right.
And yeah, that's kind of the process.
Okay. Um, I guess when you're writing, do you? Because I know some people write. Some people or some composers, I should say, write to paper or to a some sort of notation software, and others just play right into a DAW, which I guess for people that don't know, that's like a recording software where all the instruments will be recorded.
It's a digital audio workstation.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could have virtual instruments or synthesizers and so on.
Mm-hmm.
What's your process with that? Do you go straight into the DAW, or do you use notation?
Well, I kind of do a little bit of a mix of both. Sometimes it is
because I've met some film composers that don't use notation at all.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I just want to know your take on it.
Yeah, so sometimes, especially for stuff like dialogue underscore, it's more convenient to just start in the DAW, because you just mostly what you're concerned about is getting the right emotion and syncing it to the picture. But for like actual really important musical material, I prefer to work on paper whenever I can. I feel like I get I do my best writing in notation. In fact, actually, sometimes I find, well, for one, the reason I like notation is because when you have a score, you have like everything laid out in front of you that you've put together, whereas in a DAW you've got multiple tracks, and it's like, oh, wait a second, what was this violin track doing again? So you leave the track you're currently working on, you go to that other one, you look at it, and it's like, oh yeah. But if you've got your score, you see it all in front of you.
Yeah.
And in fact, actually sometimes I find notation like way more intuitive than a piano roll. Like sometimes I'll sketch ideas onto paper and I'm not even like listening to them back the way you could in a DAW. You'd just press play and it'll play it for you, or sometimes I won't even have a piano next to me, I'll just be writing stuff. And some of my work on Diogenes was here, was written just like that, like Turtle Music. I wrote that almost entirely deaf on paper. Well, you were there actually, you saw me do it.
Oh yeah,
because I was at the Society Music Songwriting session. I just had my notebook out and I was just figuring it out, letting just getting the shapes I wanted, letting theory fill in stuff that my ear wasn't quite sure about, and that came out pretty well.
Yeah.
I like to call that method of composing Beethovening, because Beethoven was deaf. But then again, he did have the piano with the rod in his teeth, so he was listening to stuff back.
Right. Yeah. Pressed up against the piano. Yeah.
So like he could like still kind of hear what he was doing, but I wonder if maybe Mozarting might be a more appropriate name for it, because Mozart was known to do that, like away from the keyboard. Would just write stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of composers did that. Right, yeah. What do you think it takes to be successful in the industry? Do you think it's oh, I guess I'll have you speak on that.
Well, there's a number of different things. A huge one that people don't really like to admit is a key to success is just being in the right being at the right place in the right time, knowing the right people. But you gotta get your foot in the door, meet people, network, because that's where you find jobs. Is you'll have you'll know a director, and they'll be like, "Hey, I've heard your work. I think your stuff's great. You want to work on my film?" And then other times you'll know other composers, and they'll get offered a job, but they've already got a project they're working on, so they'll pass it along to you. And yeah, so a lot of it is just knowing the right people and having the skills and be ready to apply them. So yeah, it's kind of how you work your way up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess I don't really know this about you, but what's your well, maybe some of it, but what's your, I guess, influences, both film and non-film composers?
Let's see, I mentioned Joe Hisaishi. I like Danny Elfman, Ennio Morricone, Prokofiev, Tchaikovsky. Yeah, I try to sound like them as much as possible.
Why Tchaikovsky?
He's got this very nice, especially his orchestral works, a very kind of lush, whimsical, powerful sound. It's really nice. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, which I guess it goes with your writing for sure. Yeah. Well, what do you think I know we've talked about this before, or debated this, I guess, but what do you think is the sound of film music? Like, do you think there's a difference in sound between film music and I guess contemporary classical music?
Well, I think stylistically the line is getting a little blurred, because concert music is borrowing a lot from film music now, I think. But if we think about the broader scope, classical versus film music, it's tricky because it's pretty easy to draw a distinction between say program music versus absolute music, whereas film is most certainly program music. It's very dramatic, and it doesn't need to follow a lot of the same form constraints as classical music does, especially in concert setting. So that's a big one. Is classical is generally more about form.
Could you
sorry, am I away from the mic? Also, I was thinking a little bit about the way that classical music is written as opposed to film scores in general. Is something I've noticed is in film music, we're a big fan of changing chords like on the measure, so like if we have a chord progression, like each chord will kind of follow a very square pattern, change every bar or two with a very clear harmonic rhythm, whereas if you analyze a Bach fugue, we'll have three beats of a chord, maybe followed by one beat of another chord transitioning into two beats of another, and it's I suppose the harmonic rhythm can be a little bit freer, which that's not always the case. Sometimes classical music, the chord changes are on the bar, but
right.
That's one thing I noticed is.
There's a lot of Bach music where it's on the bar, but yeah,
there is, but yeah, I feel like
right.
that's something that does make film music kind of sound more like film music
Mm.
from the scores I've studied.
Yeah, well, I want to go back to that point too of what you said. Classical music borrowing from film music.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your take on that? Because I find that interesting. Yeah.
Well, we're starting to see a lot more concert music that follows more dramatic forms. It's more rhapsodic, rather than following sonata allegro form, for instance, strictly. And I think a big reason for that shift in concert settings is because, kind of like that string quartet concert I mentioned from just last night. It was all Hollywood scores, because that seems to be what mass audiences are more interested in now, is orchestral music that they've heard in films. So it's
Right, because also they have
familiar.
an image to go off of. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're seeing more pieces that are like, oh, this is supposed to evoke imagery of this or that, as opposed to, here's my 10th symphony, We're not seeing that so much anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
So, program music, I think, is really big now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's not necessarily a question of form though, because I know, like, Stravinsky, he. I mean, that's a lot of what his pieces were. I mean, a lot of people call it blocks of sound, but yeah, essentially that kind of episodic form.
Stravinsky wrote a lot of ballet, and that's kind of what they had before they had films. So ballet, opera, plays. So it's, I suppose it's just the same thing. It's kind of like that.
Okay, so you think that stuff's kind of taking on into film?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, so it's
Okay.
perhaps that's why I like some of the classical composers I do, is they wrote for dramatic forms like that. Like Tchaikovsky, he wrote ballets, and Prokofiev actually wrote some film scores himself, which is interesting to think about.
Right.
Hadn't thought about that before.
Yeah. I mean, because to me, episodic form is kind of like a I guess a rhapsodic. That's more, I guess, in a dramatic form, but yeah, episodic. I mean, to me that seems more neutral. They could kind of go either way, but yeah, definitely the character of film, tends to be more dramatic. Yeah, do you think with harmonic rhythm that film is maybe too strict, or maybe not film, but like would, I suppose that's not really the fault of the film, but because I guess you made a point that you would like to see more of a freer harmonic rhythm rather than like a strict pulsed throughout on the bar kind of thing. I mean, I suppose that's a matter of taste, I guess. Yeah, so harmonic rhythm, I guess, is that something you want to be more developed in your own writing, or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think in general, music that's a little more harmonically complex is just more fun to write in general. But yeah, I do think in terms of modern film scoring, tastes are kind of drifting away from that a little bit. In fact, something interesting I've seen recently. So I mentioned that one short film I was doing.
Right.
The comment I kept getting was the music is too emotional for the scene, and I didn't really understand that until relatively recently, what he was trying to say with that. And, yeah, I was doing an internship recently that I just completed, and I was working with a composer, and he was his name was Daniel Stockdale. He's really cool, and I showed him a little bit of Karma, and he had the same comment about it. Was maybe the emotional content was a little too on the nose. And the reason was I was kind of changing chords too frequently. So, like, even if it was just, like, long sustains, just, like, a couple seconds per chord, I guess even that's a little too much for scenes that take place in a more modern setting, because in sort of a very real, grounded, modern scene, you want the music to be a little bit more ambiguous, a little more ambient and in the background, and you can Daniel was showing me you could get away with just holding down a drone for like a really long time and just doing some little subtle changes on top of it, just little highlights here and there, let the synthesizers do the work. And
Right.
so like 2 or 3 minute scene you could get away with just like 2 or 3 different drones.
Yeah, like you don't really need like harmonic information for like everything. Yeah, right.
So that kind of takes slowing down the harmonic rhythm to kind of an extreme, but that is kind of where a lot of film scores are going now, especially with when it comes to like underscore and stuff.
I mean, I've heard Danny Elfman describe it as a lot of scores are big and bland, is what he describes. With I think that might go with the drone thing, which I'm not talking about that instance you're talking about, like because I think I mean, it is necessary in certain instances for whatever the project is, but yeah, there's some, but there are some movies. I mean, I'm sure you've made the same same experience with it, where you notice the drone for like a long time in certain movies.
But I think what they're going for is they want you to not pay attention to the music so much.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, right, of course.
But yeah, so I think that goes back to the style I write for is a lot more traditional, and that was something Daniel was telling me also, was the way I write maybe is a little academic and a little outdated, perhaps. Like, it might work for high fantasy, but if you're just in somebody's living room with like real people, it might be a little too over the top. And so finding that balance is important, and that was something I was trying to do more with that particular film.
Yeah, right. How would you get a project as a film composer? Do you have to do a lot of networking, or I don't know, be part of like some agency or something? Like, yeah, what do you think of that?
Sometimes not so much part of like an agency as much as like just kind of the broader film scoring community. It's good to know people and have them be familiar with what you can do. It's like, a lot of getting film scoring projects is just knowing people who can give you that kind of work. Like with Karma, for example, my friend Zach was originally supposed to do the score for that, but he landed a paying gig, so he had to drop the project. But it was like, hey, let me put you in touch with Zander. He's really good. He'll get you something, and that's how I got that job.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, it's just putting yourself out there and hoping the right people find you.
Mm.
And sometimes you do gotta seek out those people, but yeah, there's a number of ways you can find work. Cold emailing people sometimes works, but that's
Yeah.
generally kind of frowned upon, but like everybody does it, so you really don't have a choice there. Going to conventions, festivals, if you score a film and it's going to a film festival, go to the festival, talk to people, be like, oh yeah, I did the that you can ask them what they were doing, and it's like, oh cool, and then they'll ask you what you were doing. It's like, oh, I did the score for this film, and maybe they saw it, maybe they didn't, and it's get a conversation going, build relationships.
Yeah, your name, or your stage name, I guess, Count Zander. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah. So Zander, that's kind of always been my childhood nickname. That's what my parents call me a lot of the time. My siblings call me Zander almost exclusively. Yeah, and then Count, I just like the sound of it. There's a lot of very cool characters who are counts, We got Count Dracula, Count Orlok, Count Olaf, Count of Monte Cristo, Count
Right.
from Sesame Street. I just think that fits my vibe, and so that's where I got that.
Nice. I mean, yeah, I always kind of personally wondered why a Z instead of like an X.
It just looks correct. I've tried it with an X. Z just works better.
So you brought a flute with you, Native American flute, I assume, and so I wanted to ask you. Well, I know you have an interest in, I guess, in indigenous music. Would you say, or yeah? What prompted that interest?
Well, I've over my college career, I've taken 3 world music classes now. The first one being at El Camino, and that was taught by Dr. Doyle. Yeah, I remember the first time I saw some of his collection of Native American flutes was at sort of a art gallery exhibit concert that he did, and I just thought they were really cool, the Native American flutes, and they thought they'd be a lot of fun to play. And then when I went on to take his world music class, he was telling us about them, and we learned some of the history and the folklore behind them, and I decided I wanted to write a piece for it. So yeah, he let me borrow one of his. It was bass flute in D, so like this one, but a real one. And he gave me a book even on more information about them that I was studying. So I was learning all I could about it, the legends about them, the way they were developed. Seems every tribe has their own version of how the Native American flute came about, and it's all very interesting. And this particular one, I actually 3D printed, so which, despite being 3D printed, it actually plays really well.
Yeah, it sounds like the real thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. And this is just something I've had to practice with, but the on the album, the piece For Those Who Tread Upon the Earth, that was the real wooden one that I'd borrowed, that you hear in that recording. But yeah, sounds pretty decent for what it is. Oh, and it's modular, so it comes apart.
Nice. Yeah, I guess maybe show us a little bit of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a big difference with these as opposed to more Western wind instruments is plays pentatonic scale traditionally, but you can use alternate fingerings to vary that. Whereas, say on a clarinet, you would lift the fingers in order like this. Generally, you want to keep the third finger on the left hand down. It doesn't sound like it's quite lined up properly. Yeah, you gotta get the external block in the right spot so that the air splits in the chamber correctly.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play, and if you're already a woodwind player like I am, they're quite intuitive.
Yeah, it sounds very beautiful. And I mean, yeah, I recommend everyone to listen to that piece you wrote for it. What is the name of it again?
For Those Who Tread Upon the Earth. It's while I was writing it, I was learning about the Trail of Tears in one of my classes at El Camino, and so that was kind of a huge inspiration for the sound of that piece. So it's very the theme itself is in D minor. It's very somber, and towards the end I tried to make it sound a bit more hopeful, but yeah, that's kind of what the piece is about.
Nice, yeah. Well, it's really cool in that piece that even though the flute is in like a D minor pentatonic kind of scale, yeah, the other instruments are kind of like harmonically shifting around the different notes, so you get these different tonalities and colors throughout, which which is really cool. Yeah, I guess like one thing I was that I guess preoccupied me a little bit ago, I guess when I say a little bit ago, maybe like a year ago or so, was music that convincingly uses these kind of tribal instruments into Western areas, like orchestras and like classical instruments like violin and flute and so on, and kind of putting them with that group, like kind of like a um, I don't know, sort of making sort of like a hybrid music. Um, because a little bit ago I was thinking like, I don't know if there's that many convincing pieces that do that, because sometimes, I don't know, like what are your thoughts on this, but like sometimes I hear pieces that use, like they say they use some sort of instrument from a different culture, and it kind of just sounds like Western music, but with that on top of it, and it doesn't seem really like to like melt together nicely. I mean, but there are pieces that I did some deep digging, and I did find some pieces that were very compelling. But yeah, how do you view, I guess, using instruments like that with like a Western sort of arrangement of or instrumentation?
Yeah, so I feel like I approached it a little bit the way I would play clarinet. And a big thing that I wanted to be part of the piece was having improvisational elements, because that's typically how these instruments are supposed to be played. And so, for inspiration, I was listening to a lot of R. Carlos Nakai. He's like the Native American flute player, or the most generally most popular as far as I know. Yeah, his stuff's really good. And so I was listening to that, and I was playing around with the flute, and I knew that I didn't want to start writing like a single note until I actually had the instrument in my hands, so I could know what it was capable of and what I could do with it. And to get the kind of improvised nature of the theme, what I ended up doing was I went out to kind of a local wilderness preserve, and I just sat down with the flute and just saw what felt natural to do. So, yeah, the main theme of the piece is very idiomatic on the instrument. So, Native American music, they kind of like to start melodies up high and then bring them down. So I was thinking about different things that felt nice to do in that sort of manner, and so that's how I came up with. And I was like, hey, that feels good, that sounds good, and so I kept going with that, saw where it went, and yeah, and then later in the piece, I was down my garage, and I was just like, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good, let's use that too. And so, yeah, a lot of it was really thinking about the instrument first, and then developing the orchestra around that. And of course there's the section in the middle where it's just all improvised, so anytime I would perform that, it's different every time. And the same with the ending. Was I ended up recording several different versions of that, and then went with the one I liked best. So if I'm actually planning to perform the piece live with an orchestra sometime in the coming months, so those sections will be just a little bit different at that performance, depending on how I feel in the moment, and that's how it's meant to be played. And so the piece kind of reflects that.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, yeah, that seems to be the way to go about it, about writing for those instruments. Yeah. Because for a while I was like, what's the sorry, the name's escaping me, but the Australian instrument. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Didgeridoo?
Yeah, the didgeridoo. I was thinking, a little bit ago that I possibly want to discover if I can write a piece including the didgeridoo.
That would be cool.
But yeah.
Dr. Doyle would again be the guy to talk to about that.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we're talking about doing a podcast together. I'm not sure if we'll do that or not, but and for everyone who doesn't know, he has a large collection of kind of every instrument. But yeah, or so when you're writing a piece like that, do you look at specific tribes on how they used it, or do you kind of take a more like holistic view of all of them, or?
I tried to take a bit more of a holistic view, and I think it's maybe a little difficult to find sort of things that are very specific to one tribe's musical traditions over another, and I think that's a lot to do with the way, unfortunately, American history played out. Andrew Jackson sending all of the Native Americans onto reserves around Oklahoma, and there were the boarding schools where they would try to assimilate the indigenous children into more Western culture and suppress their cultural identity, and so a lot of that, unfortunately, gets lost, all their history and traditions, and so a lot of it, from what I've learned, feels like it gets jumbled into one thing, and it didn't used to be like that. So that's sad to think about.
Mm-mm.
And of course, they do. The Native American nations do still exist, and they retain their cultural identity, but it's not. It's no longer the same as what it used to be.
Right. Yeah, and do you look at also like the Mayans and Aztecs, because they have very similar instruments as well?
Yeah, they have flutes also, wooden ones and clay ones.
And bone, right?
And bone, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was mainly thinking sort of North American, or more so than Central or South American.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a very good piece. I really enjoy it. I recommend everyone listening to it on his album, Diogenes Was Here. So the title of the album, Diogenes Was Here, what does that particularly mean?
All right. So, I suppose where I came up with the title kind of stems from the location that we shot at. It's a little hiking trail up in Palos Verdes, and my brother likes to go on walks there sometimes, especially around sunset, and one time he brought me there, and there was this big concrete sewer drain covered in graffiti, and when we got there, I was immediately inspired. I could picture like an office desk and fancy furniture and a lamp, all kind of contrasting with the kind of decrepit look of the whole thing. We did that. We brought down a table and a chair and a lamp and everything, and books, skulls, different props, and we had a photo shoot there, and it was really cool. And then I had my brother Andrew. He's an artist, very good one, and I had him draw in digitally some extra graffiti based on different tracks on the album, and the title Diogenes was here, meant to look like kind of like typical gangster graffiti, like you'll put your tag was here, and so
there was also that like famous hoax of like I forget what name it was, but like the
Kilroy was here.
Yeah, Kilroy was here.
Yeah. I suppose it is a little bit like that as well. And then the name Diogenes I felt was fitting for that. He's one of my favorite philosophers, founder of cynicism, and he was he was basically just this really smart-mouthed homeless guy. And so I kind of pictured Diogenes kind of living in a sewer drain like that, and just all that furniture and fancy, just the opulence, the suit, that would all be just kind of in his imagination, because that's all he needed, was what was up in his mind. And I'm sure he would have something to say about all that, though. I don't actually come to think of it, I don't even know if he would agree with all that, because he had no earthly possessions by choice except for just a small bowl that he could drink water out of, and they saw a dog just drinking right out of a pond, and he was like, hey, what do I need this for? So I don't think he would agree with having all the fancy furniture in there, but it's a cool vibe, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's much deeper than I expected.
Oh yeah, and it was also a lot of fun setting up for the photo shoot, because to get down there from the top of the hill, it's like a mile walk, and it's down a dirt hill and then goes across this stretch of beach that's all just large rocks, and it's very hard to walk on. So by the time we carried all the stuff down and then brought it all back up the hill, like everyone involved was just dying. Because my dad helped me out. My girlfriend was there. My sister was there. She was the one taking all the pictures. That was a team effort, but my dad said for my next album we're not trekking a mile down a hill with a ton of furniture. Pick something easier. But it was a fun experience. It was. Yeah,
I mean it's a good cover.
Thanks.
I'm actually I was pretty jealous when I saw the cover, because it is really cool, I think. But anyway, I think on that note, if you like this episode and you want to support the channel, please look at our Patreon account, where you'll find many different options to donate to the channel. And I thank Russell Lenhard for being our camera operator. Thank you, Alexander, again. And see you guys on the next one. Thank you.